Got that genie in my tongue, got that juju on my pin, got that Lucy on my tongue, got that num num on my teeth, got that Molly in my tongue, got that mushrooms in my teeth. Is you finished? Is you done, bitch? I might be. I just got inside the club. Now I'm fucking with that lean, got tequila in my cup, got that white.
What's up, y'all? I'm back and welcome back to the Crystal Addiction. Sorry, see what I've been doing. And it is Monday, y'all. Welcome back to a Crystal Addiction. If you're new to my channel, my name is Crystal. And I don't know why I decided to do it today. I feel like I'm in a better place today, and maybe this is the time that I should do it. And just get her done, baby. Just get her done. For those of you who was waiting for some shit yesterday, I just couldn't do it, man. That menopause had me all jacked up, y'all. I don't know. That shit had me crying, sad for no reason, mad for no reason. Lord, I'm gonna just give a shout out to my husband who has to put up with this ignorant shit. Look, that's why motherfuckers get divorced between 52 and 60, because the husband can't deal with the crazy ass wife being hot and moody and just tripping all the time for no freaking reason. I'm telling you, that's menopause and kids when they're going through puberty. That's when everything starts to go freaking haywire, because everybody's going nuts. Mainly the mama who's driving everybody else crazy with her damn menopausal shit. They name that shit right when it menopause, because I'm gonna just get off that subject. Anyway, shout out to my husband. I love you, baby, if you ever watch this, and I'm just so sorry, and I do try to make it up. Anyway, so if you've been following me, you know where I left off last week. Moved over to 40 now in El Cajon, doing a bunch of still partying, and still thinking, hey, let's just be real. I don't give a shit how clean you keep your children, how well fed, whatever. If you are doing meth, doing the shit that I told you I was doing, you're not a good parent. This whole process is about acceptance. I have accepted the fact that although I love my kids, and I wasn't the worst parent, I didn't beat my kids, my oldest ones, they have some memories. They know what type of parent I was. The two oldest one maybe got one spanking out of the whole time, But I was not a good mother because I got high. And I think that, if I would have known about programs and things that's, they have programs now for mothers who do, with drugs, where they can go into the program with their kid, and so they can, get that bond and get everything back on track and get the mother out there working. I don't know if they had any of those places, in the 80s. If so, I didn't know about them, but I thank God that they're here now for the young women in that needed for today. So anyway, I'm hoping I don't cry, and if I do start to cry, I'm not going to cry on camera. I'm going to cut the shit off. So if that happens, that might happen, I'll come back. But that's also why I've been drinking some mimosas, to kind of gear myself up for this next story. And this is still shady people, I know. The people involved in this story will be the donor's grandmother and the donor's father. Those two people. Now, as you know, I told you about my son coming back to me about the whole white devil thing. The problem was I don't even know if it was so much as a problem that I was dating someone versus the fact that he was white, okay? Because everybody know old black people are just as racist as old white people, period. Because they was in those days when they was picking cotton and doing shit, they had it rough. So I get that. But at the same time, what I'm about to tell you is some shitty shit. So What I do know about this date, it is 88. So you're right, Robin. Auntie died in 89. I was so off. So it's December 88, or it could have been, it's either November or December, somewhere in there. Um, it was near Christmas because I was moving. So I had found another place, so I decided to move, okay? So I called my grandmother and went to the phone booth. There was a liquor store right around the corner from my house. So I went to the liquor store around the corner, called my grandmother, because we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have cell phones then. There were no pagers. None of that shit had came out yet, not for us at least. So I called my grandmother to come pick me up because the donor's grandmother said she would watch the kids for me while I moved. Now, this was on a Tuesday. So this was a Tuesday. Now, grandmother came. She picked me and the boys up, took me over to the donor's grandmother's house. I don't drop my kids off. I walk my kids in with the instructions, this, that. Here's their clothes, but this is the last time they had dinner, blah, blah, blah. All that. Walked inside, left my kids there, kissed the kids, da-da-da. Went on back my way on a Tuesday, started moving, okay? I was moving over to, it was Altadena. That's where I was moving to. Oh, God, what a ratchet-ass place. Anyway, I was moving over to Altadena. So, Wednesday, I had called to talk to my kids because, I'm a mom. You call, check on your kids. And so I was able to talk to them. She had called them. They was up in the front house with their dad's brother. There was no phone up there, so she would call them to the back. So I always talked to my boys. So she said that, I'll keep them another night. I know you moved and I know that you're tired. I remember this whole conversation. You move. I know that you're tired. You want to rest. You go ahead. Let them stay here one more night. And you can pick them up on Thursday. So I'm like, because now, it's Wednesday. So I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't think anything of it, right? There was no reason for me to think. There was just no reason. So Thursday, I called, but let me back up. So before I had this call, when I called her on Thursday, I remember being at this new apartment. So I'm putting everything together. We're putting the beds up. We're putting the place together. Now it was during Christmas time, so it was up during that season because I was literally putting up a Christmas tree, and I had some presents. So I was putting up the Christmas tree, and I remember for just out of the blue, I remember just leaning against the wall. I slid down this wall, and I just started crying uncontrollably. I did not know why, where it came from. It just happened like a wave of rain that just popped out of nowhere, and then it just left. That Thursday, I called the donor's grandmother. I said, hey, I'm calling my grandma so she can come get me to pick up the kids. So she says, oh, no, they're okay. They're up in the front house with their uncle. They're good. I said, well, can I talk to them? She said, oh, no, they're up there playing. The uncle's about to take them to the store. So they're good. They're good. I'm like, okay. She says, no, just go on. You can just pick them up tomorrow. Okay. Still again, didn't think anything of it. It just didn't seem weird to me. There was no reason for me to question it. It just did not seem odd to me at all. I did not have a feeling. I felt like I should have had a feeling. So then, now it's Friday, telling her, hey, where the kids at? I'm coming to pick up the kids. My grandma's on her way to have me pick up the kids. Donna's grandmother says, they're not here. What do you mean they're not here? She said, someone took them. I said, and I was at that phone booth. I said, what do you mean someone took them? She said, someone took them. I said, again, and I'm seeing this shit. It's like, what do you mean someone took them? And she says, white lady came and they took the kids. I'm like, took the kids where and why? And she's like, I don't know why they took the kids. And I'm just like, Like, I didn't scream. I just remember crying. And I remember saying to her, they took all of them. You know, I remember that shit. I remember saying they took all of them. They didn't leave one child. I remember saying that. Um, I'm keeping it together. And that's what I remember about that day. And it was so fucked up because it was on a Friday. And there was no way, like, I've never dealt with CPS. I didn't know where to begin to look. I didn't know what to do. Like, bitch, do you got a number? Just like, what do you have? You just gonna let somebody take my kids and you don't know who the hell took my kids? But you gotta fucking have something, right? Right? You gotta have something. So my grandmother takes me over there to the donor's grandmother's house, and she has this card. Social worker, it was a social worker. So there was no way for me to call this heifer until Monday. So imagine someone comes in, takes your kids, you have no idea who has them, you don't know where they at. I can't compare that to someone losing their child because there's no comparison, but it's pretty fucking close. And I'm gonna use it again. It's pretty fucking close. That destroyed me. I didn't know what to do with that. I cried. I cried so much. Like, I cried so much. Like, I didn't know. It's like a whole part of me was just ripped apart. Like, I just cried so much, and I didn't know why they did it. I didn't know why they did it. So Monday morning comes around, and I'm calling, like, I'm waiting. And do you know how hard it was to wait till freaking 8-9 o'clock to call someone to figure out where the hell your kids were? So I make this phone call, okay? So I call, tell them who I am, want to know why they took my kids. And this lady was so cold and just so fucked up. She said, well, we took your kids because you abandoned them. I'm like, I didn't abandon my kids. My kids were they were left with their grandmother, and my grandmother took me there. I didn't abandon my kids. She said, well, that's the information that we have right now. And what else did she say? Yeah, it was just left at, because there was 2 different phone calls. So she was telling me that because I abandoned my kids, and that I had an appointment to go. It was like the juvenile court system. So it was somewhere out there on Meadowbrook. So I needed to come there to review some like fucking tapes or something. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'm like, but can you tell me where my kids are at? She says, well, we can't tell you where your kids are at until you go to court. Okay, so when do I go to court? And they're talking about, so right then it was maybe like 3 weeks till my court date. So I'm like, so 3 weeks until my court date, and I can't know where my kids are, if they're okay. Can the people who have my kids contact me? Something. There was absolutely nothing. No contact, no nothing. And at this point, I'm being told that they took my kids because I abandoned them. There was no fucking way I can do that. There was no way. That never happened. Anybody who knows me knows that just, no, not even at my highest moment. No. So I go to this stupid ass appointment the next day. And they have me in this room, okay? So they got me in this room, and there's a screen. So before they showed me this video of my oldest son, she says, the reason we took your kids is because there was an allegation or that my boyfriend molested my kids while I watched. If you would have known the rage going through my veins when I heard that, like, wait, what? Like, I didn't even know how to process that shit. I couldn't even fucking process what I just heard. I'm like, wait 1 minute. So I looked at this lady. I said, that's not true. I said, I would never let anybody hurt my kids, let alone watch them fucking hurt my kids. There's no way I would let that happen. She looks at me and says, so you're calling your kids a liar? I said, no, I'm not calling my kids a liar. What I'm saying, I would never watch someone hurt my kids. And if something like that did happen, I need to know about it. Like, if that did happen, I want to know about it. Do you think he'd be alive? Do you? Baby, come on now. Come on now. And you know, the funny thing about this, I still at this time hadn't remembered that I had been molested. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. All this shit from the very beginning was insufficient evidence. So I'll go back and I tell the dude what we are being accused of. He falls on his knees and he says, Crystal, he says, I swear to God, he says, I would never hurt your kids. And he's crying, red face, crying. He says, I would never do anything like that. I'm like, I know that it's not true because they said I was there watching you do the shit. So I know it's not true. So that was just so hard to deal with. Now let me tell you what happened. He called the lady on the card. Now, in today's world, if someone gets accused of child molestation, don't they pick your ass up and take you to freaking jail and figure the shit out later? I think that's what happens now. Do you think that happened then? No. He called. He said he'd be willing to come talk to them. They never reached out to him. They never talked to him. And in my mind today, I still feel like the reason was I was a little black girl and he was a little white boy from Michigan. So they never ever questioned him. They never talked to him. He wanted to talk to him. He wanted to clear his name. He didn't want to be looked at as a fucking child molester. Okay? But they never ever approached him, never came to him, never did shit. But what I was told, that if I left him, they would give me my kids back. I ain't making this shit up. I couldn't make this shit up. This shit is in my fucking head every day. Like, this is the shit due to some of my kids' situations that they're currently in. I think about this scenario never goes away. It's almost like waking up to the same dream over and over. It will never go away. This is always in my head. Why? You'll find out why later, because I'm gonna stop right now. It's time for me to go. But yeah, that's the story, and it's just gonna get deeper after that. So yeah, they never contact him. He never did anything, and we had to break off that relationship. I did everything that the courts, some of the shit that they had asked me to do, and yeah, so we will discuss what happened with my first court date come next week. So yeah, this was actually supposed to be video. Well, anyway, you know I was supposed to put this shit up on Sunday, but I didn't. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm so glad I got through this video without crying, because my cousin can tell you when I told her this story before, I was bawling my ass off. I had cried so much, and I told her, I don't think I can tell the story because it just makes me cry. But maybe all I needed was a little bit of juice. Just a little bit of juice. Yeah. To make me lose. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Don't know what I'm going to title it for next week, but you'll see it at the end. Please, love you guys, and I will see you next week. Check me out next week for Two Devils and CPS. And check me out on Instagram, crystalphillip.52. See you next week. Thanks. Bye.